Bonjour tout le monde. So today is Halloween, and we're going to be doing another one of these live lessons. So last week we were looking a little bit at some of the vocabulary to talk about people in the third person, like he, she, and we were talking about like my brother, my sister, my son, my daughter, my parents, my mother, my father, and we'll talk a little bit more in this case about using the you form, talking about your brother, your sister, and asking some questions for that vocabulary. So I'm going to do a screen share here. Let me get back to this page and just double check if you can see my screen. Okay. So I think, yeah, I think you can see the screen there. So this is vocabulary that we were looking at last week. And so I would use these mon mari, ma femme, mon fils, ma fille, mon frère, ma sœur, mon petit ami, ma petite amie, mon père, ma mère, mon ami, mon ami. And I would switch these from mon to ton. So with a T, T-O-N, or T-A, ton mari, ta femme, ton fils, ta fille, ton frère, ta sœur, ton petit ami, ta petite amie, ton père, ta mère, ton ami, ton ami. So because of the letter A, I would still use the ton there. Okay, and if I were asking a question or pointing out to somebody, I could say, c'est ton frère. As we pointed out in other videos here, the intonation can really change the meaning of this question. So if I was just raising my voice and said like, c'est ton frère, I could just point to somebody as like, is that your brother? And emphasizing the aspect that I'm talking about somebody's brother. Or if I emphasize the ton, T-O-N, c'est ton frère. So I would be emphasizing a bit more the possession. So just be sensitive to that in those kind of questions where if somebody was asking about the possession or somebody's asking about the object, kind of identifying it. So if I saw somebody walk in the door, I could say, voici ton frère. Like, here's your brother. He just walked in. If I was asking a question, maybe I could say, est-ce que c'est ton frère? Est-ce que c'est ton frère? Like, is this your brother? Est-ce que c'est ta sœur? Like, is this your sister? So I could, for the identifying those people. And maybe if I was looking at a picture and there were multiple people in the picture, I could point and say, est-ce que c'est ton frère? Or just simply, c'est ton frère? Okay. And asking about what people like to do. I could use here the qu'est-ce qu'il aime faire. Qu'est-ce que, I could ask a question, qu'est-ce que ton frère aime faire? Qu'est-ce que ton frère aime faire? Or qu'est-ce que ta sœur aime faire? So I could switch these il with an L or the ton frère, a ta sœur. I could switch those out. And I could say, okay, mon frère aime lire, mon frère aime voyager, or I could use ma sœur aime voyager, ma sœur aime écrire, she likes to write. So I could switch out any of these verbs. I could put that after the this M for the what they like to do, or he, she likes to do. Okay. If I were talking about my friends or my parents, I could ask about like where they're from or where my friends, brother or sister live. So I could ask some of those questions here. So I could ask, d'où vient ton père? D'où vient ton père? D'où vient ton père? Or d'où est ta mère? So I could use a couple of those possibilities here of where is your father from? Where is your mother from? And I could say, mon père vient de New York. Ma mère vient de Ohio, for example. But I could use the word but, mais, M-A-I-S, Mon père vient de New York, mais il habite en Californie. My father is from New York, but he lives in California. Okay. Et mon frère habite à Chicago. Ma sœur habite en Californie aussi. So aussi is also. Okay. So those are a few things for where somebody's from, but where they live, or are we using an also where somebody also lives? Okay. And my brother is married, so mon frère est marié, and ma sœur est mariée aussi. So with marié, there's an extra e here, marié. So and I could ask a question: Est-ce que ton frère est marié? So I could use an est-ce que in front of this. But if I just for the est-ce que ton frère est marié, or est-ce que ta sœur est mariée? And if he wasn't, or if she wasn't, I would say ma sœur n'est pas mariée with the extra e, or mon frère n'est pas marié. So I could use that. And my brother and my sister have children, so I could ask a question here of est-ce que ton frère a des enfants? Est-ce que ta sœur a des enfants? And I could say oui, mon frère, and so I replace the il. Mon frère a deux enfants. Ma sœur a un enfant. Elle a un fils. Ma sœur a un fils. So my brother has two children. My sister has one child. She has a son. She has one son. Okay. And in terms of my brother and sister's age, or sorry, their name, I could say, comment s'appelle ton frère? Comment s'appelle ta sœur? I could say, mon frère s'appelle Jason. Ma sœur s'appelle Carolyn. And I could ask about their ages. So I could say, quel âge a ton frère? Quel âge a ta sœur? So, mon frère a 40 ans. Mon frère a 40 ans. Ma sœur a 45 ans. Okay. And that's about what I would say here for their ages and for their names. And these were just using some of the examples with brother and sister, but I expand these out. And if I had any doubts about vocabulary words, like verbs to use with the verb to like, or things about the age, like the numbers, I could try using Google Translate, but sometimes there are mistakes. And for specific vocabulary words, I would use, often I would take a look at the wordreference.com. So if I wanted to know a word for, let's say, brother-in-law. So, okay, mon beau-frère. So I could look this up, and then that could be either my wife's brother, or it could be my sister's husband. So both of those would be my beau-frère, my brother-in-law. So I wanted to expand my vocabulary a little bit more. And if I had some doubts about some of the verbs, I could go here and look up, let's say, habiter, for to live. And this would be the French on here. So I have j'habite, tu habites with the S, il habite, so that would be like il, elle. So this would be, they're not necessarily putting the she, but this il, elle is the same for habite. And next week we'll be looking at the plural, like he, she, like they, not, sorry, he, she, but they in the plural, this habite. So the pronunciation, as you can see here with the phonetics, is habite. It's the same as this one, habite, and the same as this one, habite, and the same as this one, habite. So that's very typical in French, where the pronunciation for some of these conjugations, so like the first group, the ER verbs, it's the same for the I form, the you form, the he, she, it form, and the they form. That pronunciation doesn't change, but the spelling changes. So there's there's E, so he and she, and I is the same, but with the to form you have the S, and for the they form, il, el, pluriel, you have the ENT, except the pronunciation, looking at the phonetics, it's the same there. So if you just heard habite, you wouldn't quite know how it is spelled. So that's why it's very important to be using the subject pronouns in French, because just the sound alone is not enough to determine which person you're talking about. Okay, so I would take a look at this, Wiktionary.com for some of these verb conjugations, or wordreference.com for vocabulary words. And worst case scenario, you could use kind of Google Translate, but sometimes there are some mistakes. So these are some basic phrases and vocabulary words you could be using to talk about people in the he, she form, and also talking to a language exchange partner with in saying your brother, your sister, and then these would be my brother, my sister. So I will update this this chart for the vocabulary that we've looked at today. Okay. And if you have any questions or comments about some of these vocabulary words or the structures on here, please feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion or a correction, because obviously I'm not a native speaker, but I am learning the language and reviewing it and sharing this information that I've learned over the years, about 19 years studying French and living in France for 6 years, and then raising my children trilingually with Spanish and French. But so if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. So thank you very much for watching. Au revoir.